Hi, in this Learning Bite, you will learn how to leverage performance management and drive successful business turnaround by looking at the real-life example of a mid-sized consultancy company. We did change the characteristics and details for anonymization purposes, but the example remains, in essence, the same. This company, Cylon, is a mid-sized consultancy firm and has long been a well-respected name within their industry. Customers often approach the firm, and consultancy projects were usually long-term and profitable engagements. However, after the most recent financial crisis, customers became a lot less willing to work on these long-term consultancy projects, opting for cheaper, short-term projects with well-defined KPIs instead. To survive, Cylon's strategy had to change. After extensive research and interviews with customers, the board of directors defined 3 new key drivers for better business results. First, the position of the consultant had changed. They were no longer seen as experts who know best. Instead, the customers was looking for a trusted colleague who would work alongside their employees and was able to integrate their knowledge into new business processes and transfer know-how to employees. Second, consultants had to develop commercial skills to see tangible opportunities for upsells. This required them to constantly be on the lookout for opportunities where Cylon could add further value for the client. Third, consultants had to learn to productize services. When leaving the client organization, this digital product would stay in place, creating a stable and predictable revenue for Cylon. These key drivers required a tremendous shift in the way consultants work and the skills they needed to do their work. The attitude of the consultant had to change. The consultant had to develop a more commercial mindset. And the consultant had to learn about digital productization services, something they hadn't worked with before. The board of directors clearly understood that the key to this change would be changing the people who ran the organization. By translating these new requirements into skills for consultants, Cylon was able to implement a new performance management policy that focused on 3 elements. First, a new HR approach. Traditionally, well-defined internal roles changed based on the new skills required to be a successful consultant. A successful consultant at Cylon was a trusted advisor, was commercially savvy, and was able to conceptualize a vision for value-adding digital products. Second, individual training and coaching. Employees were assessed, trained, and coached on their commercial and digital skills. Individuals who excelled were promoted quicker. Clear benchmarks for individual performance were set, and suboptimal performance would result in either a demotion or an exit. And third, a changing hierarchy. Because of the previous shifts, the traditional hierarchy at Cylon also changed. People who were more commercially and digitally savvy were promoted faster and more frequently, while people who weren't able to develop these skills quickly were laid off. This fundamentally changed the company's values and identity into something that represented the type of consultant the company needed much more closely. Despite the fact that this big change in company culture led to a lot of initial tensions and people quitting, it resulted in Cylon being regarded as one of the most innovative firms in the market within a few years after implementing this new policy and creating a much more stable stream of revenue, ensuring its competitiveness for the future. This case study shows how important strategic alignment of HR and the rest of the business and the vital role that performance management can take in this process. I hope this micro learning bite gave you a good real-life example on how to leverage performance management and drive successful business turnaround. If you have any specific questions, feel free to comment below. And if you enjoyed today's bite, make sure you stay up to date with our learning bites by subscribing to our channels. Also, if you've liked this video, please like and share it, and I'll see you soon in our next bite.